If we have kids, I really hope they don't look like you. My ex had way better genes, my fiancée said, while we were picking out flower arrangements. I said, good to know. The next day, I canceled the venue, the catering, and the engagement itself. She called me confused, asking what happened. I said, go chase those better genes with someone else, and hung up. I, 31, male, had been with Maya, 29, for 2 years when she said the words that ended everything. We were at Bloom and Petal, picking out flower arrangements for our wedding, scheduled for 8 weeks away. The florist had just shown us white roses mixed with eucalyptus. Maya tilted her head, smiled at me, and said, you know, if we have kids, I really hope they don't look like you. My ex had way better genes. I froze. The florist's hand stopped midair, holding a sample bouquet. Maya kept smiling, like she'd just commented on the weather. I said, good to know. My voice came out flat, calm. She laughed, squeezed my arm, and turned back to the roses. The florist cleared her throat and asked if we wanted to see the centerpiece options. I nodded, pulled out my phone, and started typing notes. Not about flowers. About cancellations. Venue first. Catering second. Photographer third. DJ fourth. The deposit on the rehearsal dinner. The shuttle service for guests. Every single vendor we'd locked in for August 17th. Maya kept talking about baby's breath and ribbon colors. I kept building my exit strategy. By the time we left Bloom and Petal, I had a plan. By the next morning, that plan was in motion. When Maya called me at 11:42 a.m., her voice cracked with confusion. What happened? The venue just emailed me. They said you canceled. The caterer too. What's going on? I said, go chase those better genes with someone else. Then I hung up. Maya and I met through mutual friends at a barbecue in July 2022. She worked in marketing, had a laugh that filled rooms, and made me feel like the only person in any crowd. 6 months in, we moved in together. A year and a half later, I proposed at the same park where we'd had our first real date. She cried, said yes, kissed me in front of 40 strangers who applauded. It felt perfect. Wedding planning started 3 months before that flower shop visit. We set the date, booked St. Catherine's Hall, hired a photographer who cost more than my first car. Maya's parents offered to split costs 50-50 with mine. My mom cried happy tears when we told her. Maya's mom hugged me and said, finally, someone stable for my girl. Stable. That word showed up often. Maya called me her rock, her safe place, her forever guy. I liked being that for her. I worked in IT management, pulled decent money, owned my condo outright. I wasn't flashy, but I was reliable. Maya said that's what she needed after her last relationship. Her ex, Carter, had been unpredictable. A personal trainer with a motorcycle and a habit of disappearing for days without explanation. They'd dated for 3 years. She said he'd broken her heart twice before she finally walked away. I didn't mind being the opposite of Carter. I liked being the guy who showed up, who kept promises, who didn't make her guess where I was at 2 a.m. But over time, Carter's name kept surfacing. Maya would say things like, Carter always hated sushi, but I'm glad you're open-minded. Or, Carter would have made a scene about my work schedule, but you get it. The comparisons felt constant. I told myself it was normal. People referenced their past. It didn't mean anything. Except sometimes the comparisons weren't flattering. We'd be watching a movie and she'd say, Carter looked just like that actor. Same build. Or we'd pass a guy at the gym and she'd murmur, wow, he's got Carter's arms. I never said anything. I figured she was processing. She'd chosen me, after all. She'd said yes to my proposal. That had to count for something. But the week before the flower shop, we'd gone to a family reunion on her side. Her cousin Jen pulled me aside and said, Maya talks about you all the time. She's lucky. Then Jen paused, frowned, and added, she used to talk about Carter the same way, though. Just, be careful. I didn't know what that meant. I thanked her and walked away. Jen's warning sat in my chest like a stone. I didn't shake it. Then came Bloom and Petal. The appointment was set for 3 p.m. on a Thursday. The shop smelled like lavender and fresh-cut stems. Maya wore a yellow sundress. She'd been excited all week, texting me photos of bouquet ideas from Pinterest. I'd thought this would be one of the easy parts. Flowers aren't complicated. You pick what looks nice, you pay, you move on. The florist, a woman named Diane, spread sample arrangements across the counter. White roses, blush peonies, deep red dahlias. Maya leaned over them, touching petals, asking about seasonal availability. Diane explained that eucalyptus was trending, that it photographed well, that it held up in August heat. Maya nodded along, looked at me, and asked what I thought. I said the white roses with eucalyptus looked clean, classic. Maya agreed. She said, perfect for photos. Then she tilted her head, studied me for a second, and smiled. It was the kind of smile that usually meant she was about to say something affectionate. Instead, she said, you know, if we have kids, I really hope they don't look like you. My ex had way better genes. The words landed like a slap. Diane's hand stopped mid-reach for a ribbon sample. Maya kept smiling, like she'd just said she preferred tulips over roses. I felt my face go hot, then cold. My throat tightened. I wanted to ask what she meant, but I already knew. She meant my face wasn't good enough. My height, my build, my features. She meant Carter was better. She meant our future children should look like him, not me. I said, good to know. My voice sounded calm. Flat. Diane busied herself with price sheets. Maya touched my arm, laughed, and said, oh, don't be sensitive. I'm just being honest. She turned back to the flowers. Diane asked if we wanted to see centerpiece options. Maya said yes. I pulled out my phone and opened my email. I found the confirmation from St. Catherine's Hall. I found the catering contract. I found the photographer's deposit receipt. I made a list in my notes app. Venue, caterer, photographer, DJ, florist, shuttle service, rehearsal dinner location, hair and makeup team. Maya kept talking. Something about ivory versus cream napkins. I stopped listening. I typed out an email to the venue manager. Subject line, cancellation request. Body, please cancel our reservation for August 17th under the name Maya Chun and my name. I will cover any penalty fees. Confirm receipt of this request. I hit send. Then I drafted another email to the caterer. Same structure. Same calm tone. I didn't mention why. I didn't explain. I just requested cancellations and confirmed I'd handle financial fallout. Diane showed us 3 centerpiece mock-ups. Maya debated between tall and short arrangements. I sent the 3rd email. Then the 4th. By the time we left Bloom and Petal, I'd queued 7 cancellation requests. I waited until I got home to hit send on all of them. Maya kissed me goodnight at 10 p.m. She said she loved me, that the flowers were going to look perfect. I said yeah. She didn't notice the difference in my voice. She fell asleep with her head on my chest. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling, watching confirmation emails roll in one by one. Update 1. The first email arrived at 7:18 a.m. St. Catherine's Hall, confirmed cancellation. Penalty fee, $2,400. I paid it online before I brushed my teeth. The second email came at 7:45 a.m. The caterer confirmed. Penalty, $1,800. I paid that too. By 9 a.m., I had confirmation from the photographer, the DJ, the shuttle service, and the rehearsal dinner venue. Total penalties, $6,700. I didn't blink. Maya was still asleep. I made coffee, sat at the kitchen table, and drafted one more email. This one went to the jeweler who'd sized her wedding band. Subject line, hold on final payment. Body, do not complete the engraving. I will be in this week to discuss a refund. The jeweler replied within 20 minutes. She asked if everything was okay. I said, change of plans. She said she understood, that she'd process a partial refund minus the design fee. At 10:30 a.m., I called my mom. She answered on the second ring, bright and happy. Hey, honey, how's wedding planning going? I said, I canceled it. Silence. Then what? What do you mean you canceled it? I explained. Not all of it. Just enough. I told her Maya had said something that made it clear she didn't respect me as a partner or a future father. I told her I'd ended the engagement, canceled every vendor, and paid every penalty. My mom's voice cracked. She asked if I was sure. I said, completely. She didn't argue. She asked if I needed anything. I said no. She said, okay, I love you. You did the right thing. I believed her. Maya woke up at 11 a.m. She came into the kitchen, yawning, asking if I'd made enough coffee for her. I said yes. She poured a cup, sat across from me, and checked her phone. Her face changed. She scrolled fast, eyes widening. She looked up. Did the venue just cancel on us? I said no. I canceled. Her mouth opened. Nothing came out. I sipped my coffee. She scrolled more. The caterer too? And the photographer? What is this? I said. I ended the engagement. She laughed. It sounded confused, almost hysterical. She said, "What are you talking about? Why would you do that?" I said, "You made it pretty clear yesterday that I'm not good enough to be the father of your kids." She blinked. "What? The flower shop? That was a joke. You know I was joking." I said, "You weren't." She stood up, phone in hand, still staring at the screen. "This is insane. You canceled everything because of one comment." I said, "I canceled everything because you think my genetics are inferior to your ex-boyfriend's. That's not something you build a marriage on." She started crying. She said I was overreacting, that I was being cruel, that she loved me. I said, "You love stability. You don't love me." Her phone rang. She answered. It was her mom. I heard the conversation from across the table. Her mom had gotten an email from the venue asking for final confirmation on the cancellation. Maya told her it was a mistake, that I'd done it without telling her, that she was handling it. Her mom asked to speak to me. Maya handed me the phone. Her mom's voice was tight. "What is going on?" I said, "Maya doesn't respect me. I'm not marrying someone who thinks I'm genetically inadequate." Her mom paused. Then she said that. I said, word for word. "Yesterday, at the florist." Another pause. Her mom said, "Let me call you back." She hung up. Maya's phone rang again 10 minutes later. Her sister this time. Then her cousin Jen. Then her best friend Nicole. Every call, Maya gave the same story. I'd lost it over nothing. I was being irrational. I was sabotaging the wedding because I was scared of commitment. I sat at the table, drinking coffee, listening to her spin it. I didn't interrupt. I didn't correct her. I let her dig. At 11:42 a.m., she called me while I was in the other room. She was still in the kitchen, crying, asking the venue if they could undo the cancellation. I heard her beg. I heard her offer to pay extra. The venue said no. The date had already been offered to another couple. She screamed into the phone. When she hung up, she came into the bedroom and asked me to fix it. I said, "Go chase those better genes with someone else." Then I walked past her, grabbed my keys, and left the condo. Update 2. I drove to my parents' house. My dad was in the garage, working on his truck. He saw my face and said, "Your mom told me." I nodded. He wiped his hands on a rag and said, "You need a beer?" I said yes. We sat on the porch, didn't talk much. He asked if I was okay. I said I would be. He said, "Good." That was it. That was all I needed. My phone didn't stop buzzing. Texts from Maya's family, from mutual friends, from people I hadn't talked to in months. Most of them asked what happened. A few accused me of being impulsive. One of her cousins sent me a paragraph about how weddings are stressful and people say things they don't mean. I didn't reply to any of them. Then Jen texted me. Maya's cousin. The one who'd warned me at the reunion. She said, "I heard. I'm sorry. For what it's worth, she used to say the same stuff about Carter when she was with her ex before him. You weren't the first." I stared at the message. I asked her what she meant. She said Maya had a pattern. She'd date someone stable, then spend half the relationship comparing them to whoever came before. Jen said she tried to talk to Maya about it once, but Maya had brushed it off, said it was just conversation. I thanked Jen. She said, "You did the right thing. She needs to figure herself out." I saved the text thread. I didn't plan to use it, but I wanted it documented. Maya's mom called me at 4 p.m. Her voice was calmer than the morning call. She said, "I talked to Maya. She told me what she said at the florist. I'm not excusing it, but she's devastated. She says she didn't mean it." I said, "She meant it. She said variations of it for months." Her mom went quiet. Then she said, "She mentioned Carter a lot around you?" I said, "Constantly." Her mom sighed. She said, "I thought she was past that." I said, "She's not." Her mom asked if there was any chance I'd reconsider. I said no. She didn't push. She just said, "I understand. I'm sorry it ended this way." I told her I appreciated the call. We hung up. Nicole, Maya's best friend, sent me a voice message at 6 p.m. She said Maya was at her apartment, crying, asking how to fix things. Nicole said she'd asked Maya to repeat exactly what she'd said at Bloom and Petal. When Maya did, Nicole told her she'd crossed a line. Nicole said, "I told her that if someone said that to me about my future kids, I'd leave too." The voice message ended with, "I don't think she gets how bad it was." My best friend, Derek, called at 7:30 p.m. He said, "Bro, I just heard. You good?" I told him the story. He said, "Yeah, no, you're done. That's not fixable." He offered to come over, bring food, hang out. I said I was fine, but I appreciated it. He said, if she tries anything crazy, call me. I said I would. At 9 p.m., Maya texted me. Can we please talk? Face to face? I need to explain. I replied, there's nothing to explain. You said what you meant. She sent 3 more texts. I didn't read them. I blocked her number. Her sister, Anna, called me at 10:15 p.m. She said Maya had asked her to reach out, to see if I'd meet for coffee. I said no. Anna said, she's really sorry. She's a mess. I said, she should have thought about that before she said it. Anna paused, then said, you're not wrong. I thanked her for calling. She said, for what it's worth, I think she took you for granted. I didn't disagree. That night, I changed the locks on the condo. Technically, it was only in my name. Maya had moved in, but she'd never been on the lease or the deed. I called a locksmith, paid for same-day service. By midnight, the locks were changed. I texted Anna and told her Maya could pick up her things on Saturday between 1 o'clock and 3 p.m. I'd have everything boxed and ready. Anna said she'd let Maya know. Update 3. Saturday morning, I packed Maya's belongings. Clothes, toiletries, books, the wedding binder she'd kept on the kitchen counter. I didn't throw anything away. I didn't damage anything. I folded everything neatly, labeled boxes by room, and stacked them by the door. At 12:45 p.m., Anna texted that they were on their way. I said the door would be unlocked. I'd be in the bedroom. I didn't want a scene. They arrived at 1:10 p.m. I heard Maya's voice in the hallway. She was crying. Anna was quiet, probably helping her load boxes. I stayed in the bedroom, door closed. Then I heard Maya try the bedroom door. It was locked. She knocked. She said, please, just let me see you for 1 minute. I didn't answer. She knocked again. I'm sorry. I know I messed up. Please. I stayed silent. Anna said something I couldn't hear. Then I heard footsteps retreating. The front door closed. I waited 10 minutes before I came out. The boxes were gone. Sunday morning, I woke up to a screenshot from Derek. Maya had posted on Facebook. The post said, sometimes people give up on relationships the moment things get hard. If you really love someone, you work through the rough patches. You don't just run. The post had 47 likes. Comments ranged from supportive to confused. Someone asked, what happened? Maya replied, just going through something personal. Thank you for the love. Derek said, she's trying to make you look like the bad guy. I said, let her. Derek said, you're not going to say anything? I said, I don't need to. The people who matter know the truth. Derek sent a laughing emoji and said, all right, Buddha. But if she keeps pushing, you're going to have to shut it down. By Monday, 3 more people had reached out to me asking for my side. 2 were mutual friends. One was a guy from my gym who'd met Maya once at a group hangout. I told them all the same thing. She made it clear she didn't respect me. I ended it. I didn't elaborate. I didn't mention the Jean's comment. I didn't need to. But Jen did. Maya's cousin Jen posted a vague Facebook status Monday night. It said, reminder, words have consequences. If you spend your relationship comparing your partner to your ex, don't be shocked when they walk away. The post didn't name Maya, but several people commented asking if everything was okay. Jen didn't reply. She just let it sit there. Tuesday, Maya's mom called me again. This time, her voice was strained. She said, Maya's telling people you left her over a joke. Is that really what happened? I said, she told me she hopes our future kids don't inherit my genes because her exes were better. That's not a joke. That's contempt. Her mom went quiet. Then she said, she actually said that? I said, word for word, in front of the florist. Her mom exhaled hard. She said, I had no idea she was that cruel. I didn't respond. She said, I'm sorry. You deserved better. I thanked her and hung up. Wednesday, Nicole posted her own vague status. If you're more in love with your past than your present, don't drag someone into your future. Maya commented, what is this about? Nicole replied, you know what it's about. The post got 89 likes. Maya deleted her comment. Thursday, I got an email from the florist, Diane. Subject line, checking in. She wrote, I don't usually reach out after appointments, but I felt compelled after last week. I wanted to say I think you made the right decision. What she said was inappropriate and disrespectful. I've been in this business for 15 years, and I've seen a lot of couples. The good ones don't talk like that. I hope you find someone who values you. Best, Diane. I replied, thank you. I appreciate that more than you know. Diane's email sat in my inbox like a validation stamp. A stranger had witnessed it. A stranger had confirmed I wasn't overreacting. By Friday, the story had spread through Maya's extended family. Her uncle called me. He said, "I heard what she said. That's unacceptable. You didn't deserve that." I thanked him. He said, "For what it's worth, I think Carter was a clown. You were better for her. But if she couldn't see that, then it's her loss." I agreed. Maya texted me from a new number Friday night. "Everyone's turning on me. Is that what you wanted?" I replied, "I wanted you to respect me. You didn't. That's on you." She wrote back, "I said one thing." I replied, "You said the quiet part out loud. You've been thinking it the whole time." She didn't respond. 2 weeks after the breakup, Derek sent me another screenshot. Maya had updated her relationship status to single and posted a photo of herself at a wine bar with the caption, "New chapter." The comments were mixed. Some friends said, "You look great." Others were silent. One person commented, "What happened with my name?" Maya didn't reply. 3 weeks in, I heard from Anna. She said Maya had reached out to Carter. She'd texted him, said she missed him, asked if he wanted to get coffee. Carter had read the message and never replied. Anna said Maya had cried for 2 days. I didn't feel bad. I felt nothing. A month later, I ran into Nicole at a coffee shop. She said Maya had tried to restart wedding planning with a new guy she'd met on a dating app. They'd been seeing each other for 3 weeks. Nicole said, "She's calling him her second chance. It's weird. She barely knows him." I said, "That sounds like her." Nicole nodded. She said, "She's not over you. She's just trying to prove something." I said, "That's not my problem anymore." 6 weeks after the breakup, Jen texted me. She said Maya and the new guy had broken up. He'd apparently overheard her comparing him to me during a call with her mom. Jen said, he told her he wasn't interested in being someone's backup plan. I laughed. Jen said, "She's not doing well. She moved back in with her parents. She's in therapy now, which is good, I guess." I said, "I hope she figures it out." Jen said, "Me too. But honestly, I don't think she gets it yet." 2 months later, my mom told me she'd run into Maya's mom at the grocery store. Maya's mom had said Maya was struggling, that she'd lost a lot of friends over the breakup, that people had stopped inviting her to group events. My mom said, "I almost felt bad for her." Almost. I said, "She made her choices." My mom agreed. 3 months later, I saw a Facebook post from one of Maya's friends. It was a group photo from a wedding. Maya wasn't in it. Someone commented, "Where's Maya?" The friend replied, "She wasn't invited." No one asked why. For months later, I heard through Derek that Maya had tried to reconnect with Carter again. This time, she'd shown up at his gym. Carter had apparently told her to leave him alone, that he was seeing someone, that she needed to move on. Derek said, "She's spiraling, man." I said, "That's sad." I meant it. Not sad enough to feel guilty. Just sad in the way you feel when someone ruins their own life. 5 months later, Anna called me. She said Maya had finally admitted in therapy that she'd spent our entire relationship comparing me to Carter because she was scared I'd leave her the way Carter had. Anna said, "She told me she thought if she kept you aware of her better options, you'd try harder to keep her." I said, "That's manipulative." Anna said, "I know." I told her that. She didn't take it well. 6 months later, I deleted Maya from all social media. I didn't block her. I just removed her. I was done checking what she posted, done keeping tabs. Derek asked if I was okay. I said, "Better than okay." 7 months after the breakup, I went on a date. Her name was Rachel. She worked as a teacher, had a dog named Biscuit, and laughed at my terrible jokes. We met for coffee. It turned into dinner. Dinner turned into a walk through the park. At the end of the night, she said, "I had a really nice time." I said, "Me too." She didn't compare me to anyone. She didn't mention an ex. She just smiled and said she'd like to see me again. We started seeing each other regularly. Rachel was different. She asked questions about my life, my family, my job. She listened when I answered. She never made me feel like I was competing with a ghost. One night, 3 months into dating, we were cooking dinner at my place. She looked at me and said, "You know what I like about you?" I said, "What?" She said, "You're present. You're here, not stuck in the past." I told her about Maya. Not everything, just enough. I told her about the flower shop, the comment, the cancellation. Rachel's face went serious. She said, "That's awful." "I'm sorry." I said, "I'm not. It taught me what I deserve." She kissed me. She said, You deserve someone who sees you. 8 months later, I sold the condo. Too many memories. I bought a smaller place across town, closer to my parents. The new place had better light, a bigger kitchen, and no history. I moved in on a Saturday. Rachel helped me unpack. Derek brought pizza. My mom showed up with curtains she'd found on sale. It felt like a reset. 9 months later, I ran into Maya at a Target. She was alone, pushing a cart, looking at dish sets. She saw me. Her face went pale. I nodded. She said hi. I said hi. Silence. Then she said, "How are you?" I said, "Good." She looked like she wanted to say more. I didn't wait for it. I said, "Take care," and walked away. I didn't look back. 10 months later, Rachel and I were at a family barbecue at my parents' house. My mom pulled me aside and said, "I really like her. She's good for you." I said, "I know." My mom smiled. She said, "You look happy." I said, "I am." 11 months later, Jen sent me one last update. She said Maya was engaged to a guy she'd met at a work conference. Jen said, "It was fast. Like, really fast. 2 months and a ring." I said, "Good for her." Jen said, "You mean that?" I said, "I mean I don't care either way." Jen said, "Fair." A year after the breakup, I thought about the flower shop. I thought about Maya's smile when she said it. I thought about how calm I'd felt in that moment, how clear the decision had been. I didn't regret walking away. I didn't regret the $6,700 in penalty fees. I didn't regret changing the locks or packing her boxes. I regretted nothing. Because here's the truth. Maya wanted better genes. She wanted Carter's jawline, his build, his surface-level appeal. What she didn't understand was that genetics aren't just physical. They're about character. They're about showing up, keeping promises, respecting the person who trusts you with their future. Carter couldn't do that. I could. But if Maya couldn't see it, that was her blindness, not my deficiency. Rachel saw it. My family saw it. My friends saw it. And eventually, I saw it too. Some rings start wars. Mine bought a plane ticket. Rachel and I went to Iceland 2 months ago. We hiked glaciers, swam in hot springs, watched the northern lights from a cabin in the middle of nowhere. One night, she said, "I'm glad you're here." I said, "Me too." I thought about Maya one last time on that trip. Not with anger. Not with bitterness. Just with clarity. She'd done me a favor at Bloom and Petal. She'd told me the truth. And the truth had set me free. If she ever has kids, I hope they inherit something better than genetics. I hope they inherit respect. I hope they inherit loyalty. I hope they inherit the ability to see value in the people who show up for them. But that's not my problem anymore. I'm too busy living with someone who already knows what I'm worth.